Friends from the press, good afternoon. Welcome to the regular press conference of the Foreign Ministry. I will first release a piece of news. At the invitation of David Lama, Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs of the UK, Simon Harris, Tinonish, and Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade in Ireland, and Christa Heusgen, Chairman of the Munich Security Conference from February 12th to 17th. Member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi will visit the UK and co-chair the 10th China-UK Strategic Dialogue, visit Ireland, and attend the 61st Munich Security Conference in Germany. At the MSC, he will speak at the event on China, elaborate on China's position on major international issues in light of the conference's theme. As the rotating president of the UNSC for February, China will hold a Security Council high-level open debate on February 18th under the theme of practicing multilateralism, reforming and improving global governance. Foreign Minister Wang Yi will chair the Security Council meeting in New York. At the invitation of Ronald Lamola, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of G20 President South Africa, from February 20th to 21st, Foreign Minister Wang Yi will attend the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in Johannesburg, South Africa. Now I'd like to take your questions. CCTV. What is China's expectation for Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit to the UK and Ireland, and what he will introduce in the MSC? Thank you. China and the UK are both permanent members of the UN Security Council and the major economies in the world. Closer communication and cooperation between the two countries benefit both sides and the wider world. In November last year, President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Keir Starmer had a meeting during the G20 summit, providing strategic guidance for jointly writing a new chapter of the sound and steady development of the bilateral relations. Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit is an important step for delivering on the common understandings between the two leaders. The two sides will hold the China-UK Strategic Dialogue to have extensive and in-depth strategic communication on bilateral and global issues, deepen mutual trust and cooperation, and jointly steer the bilateral relations towards steady and sustained growth, and add confidence and impetus for world peace, stability, development, and prosperity. Ireland is China's strategic partnership for mutually beneficial cooperation. Over recent years, bilateral relations have enjoyed a sound growth momentum. Last year marked the 45th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two countries. As the new government of Ireland was just formed, China hopes that Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit will bring the two countries closer together for greater consensus, more cooperation, and a deeper friendship, so as to realize better and faster growth of China-Ireland strategic partnership for mutually beneficial cooperation and contribute to the sound and steady development of China-Europe relations. The Munich Security Conference is an annual forum of global significance for international strategies and security policies. China has sent high-level representatives to the conference many times. Against the background of a fast-evolving world fraught with instabilities and transformations unseen in a century, Foreign Minister Wang Yi will elaborate on China's propositions at the conference on building a community with a shared future for mankind and advancing an equal and orderly multipolar world. Next one, please.
Yonhap News Agency.
习主席将会访问俄罗斯吗？谢谢。
It's reported that President Xi has accepted the invitation for Russia to visit the country.
各层级的
China and Russia are comprehensive strategic partners of coordination for a new era. Our two sides maintain close interactions at various levels. For a specific question, I have no information to share at the moment. Next one, please.
发言人好，新华社记者提问：
Xinhua News Agency.
高级别会议的
Could you share with us the considerations for Foreign Minister Wang Yi to chair the Security Council high-level open debate? This year marks the 80th anniversary of the victory of the World Anti-Fascist War, and the 80th anniversary of the UN. This is an important occasion to be commemorated and a historical juncture to take stock of the past and envision the future. This high-level open debate will revisit the founding mission of the UN, draw a blueprint for a better future, and heralds the beginning of a series of events in commemoration of the anniversary of the UN. In the face of various global challenges, including insecurity and disorder, unbalanced development, and dysfunctional international governance, is the core of our times and a shared responsibility of all countries to reform and improve global governance. The UN Summit of the Future last September adopted the Pact for the Future, putting forward ambitious action-oriented proposals for reinvigorating multilateralism and transforming global governance. We hope this open debate will be an opportunity to review the course of the UN history, reaffirm solemn commitment to multilateralism, demonstrate firm resolve to defend the purposes and the principles of the UN Charter, step up cooperation at the UN, the Security Council, and other multilateral platforms, speed up the implementation of the Pact for the Future, and contribute more wisdom and strength to building a more just and equitable global governance system. 美联社，我想问本周库克群岛的总理访华，那么新西兰已经对两国进一步深化战略合作伙伴关系表示了担忧，你对此有何评论？
库克群岛
Cook Islands is an important partner for China in South Pacific since diplomatic relations were built in 1997. We have respected each other and have reached fruitful results in cooperation. China and the Cook Islands are ready to work together to promote our bilateral relations to achieve new progress. On your question about visit, we'll release information in due course. On the special relations between Cook Islands and New Zealand, China believes that China and New Zealand and Cook Islands are both important partners of China. China is ready to develop relations with Pacific Island countries, including Cook Islands. China-Cook Island relationship is not targeted at any third party and should not be subject to or be disrupted by any third party. Next one, please. China Daily. Recently, Chinese AI company DeepSeek launched an open-source model free for commercial use with outstanding performance and lower training cost than similar products, attracting extensive attention and heated discussion in the world. What is your comment on this? For specific professional issues, I'd refer you to competent authorities. Let me say that currently, new AI technology breakthroughs, business models, and applications keep cropping up. AI has become an important driving force for the new round of scientific and technological revolution and industrial transformation. China has taken active effort to embrace the AI transformation. We have encouraged AI innovation, paid great attention to AI security, and supported companies' self-driven innovation, contributing to global AI development. China has also actively promoted the development of AI for the benefit of all. We have helped developing countries enhance capacity building, advocated that AI technologies should be open-sourced, promoted accessibility of AI services, and worked to bring the benefit of AI to all countries. Meanwhile, we oppose drawing lines between different ideologies, overstretching the concept of national security, or politicizing trade and economic issues. China stands ready to enhance exchange and cooperation on AI with various parties, engage in extensive consultation for mutual benefit, jointly fostering an open, inclusive, and a win-win environment for the development of AI, and seek deep in the vast space of AI. Next one, please.
AFP. The leaders of Japan and the U.S. condemned China's action in South China Sea as provocative. What's your response?
The
U.S.-Japan joint leader statement mentioned about China is a brazen interference in China's domestic affairs and an attack against and a mischaracterization of China, which will heighten regional tensions. China deplores and opposes this and has lodged serious protests with the U.S. and Japan. Next one, please. On February 8th, Namibia's founding father and president Sam Nujoma passed away at the age of 95. Can I have your comment on that? We deeply mourn for the passing of former President Sam Nujoma and extend sincere condolences to the government and people of Namibia and his family. Former President Nujoma is Namibia's freedom fighter who led the country's revolution for independence and liberation. He is also Namibia's first president who was supported and loved by the Namibian people and has contributed to humanity's peace and development. Former President Nujoma has laid the foundation for China-Namibia friendship and made important contribution to the growth of China-Namibia relations and China-Africa relations. The Chinese people firmly stand with Namibian people in this time of grief and will find strength to jointly advance China-Namibia and China-Africa friendship and our common development. Next one, please.
A clarification on the previous.
你能否证实库克总统的总理本周访问了中国？
I've answered a related question. We will release information in due course. Please stay tuned. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。北京日报记者。
Beijing Daily. China released foreign ministers' participation in G20 meeting. Can you introduce your expectations? G20 summit as a forum of of international economic cooperation should carry forward partnership and lead global governance towards a just and reasonable direction and help all countries achieve common development and prosperity. China stands ready to work with all parties to promote this meeting to achieve fruitful results. Send out the strong signal for supporting multilateralism, strengthening solidarity and cooperation, and joining together to fight against global challenges. Next one, please.
In Beijing are compiling a list of
彭博社，北京说中国官员正在制定一份美国科技公司的名单，这些公司将面临反垄断调查。那么目的是为了在中国问题上让华盛顿有更多的牌可做，这是《华尔街日报》报道的。你对此有何评论？
提到的具体情况。
I'm not familiar with what you mentioned. China opposes overstretching the concept of national security and politicizing trade and tech issues. We are committed to fostering a market-oriented, law-based, and world-class business environment. The Chinese market sees all countries as equals and is equally open to companies from all countries. Next one, please. Global Times. My question is also about the meeting between the US and Japan. The two leaders emphasized the importance of maintaining peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait, opposed any attempts to unilaterally change the status quo by force of coercion, and expressed support for Taiwan's meaningful participation in international organizations. They reaffirmed that Article 5 of U.S.-Japan Treaty of Mutual Cooperation and Security applies to the Senkaku Islands and opposed China's unlawful maritime claims, militarization of reclaimed features, and threatening to and provocative activities in the South China Sea. The U.S. also said the two countries will strengthen cooperation against China's economic aggression, was China's comment. I've answered questions, relevant questions before. I would like to say that the statement mentioned about China is a brazen interference in China's domestic affairs, an attack against and mischaracterization of China, which will heighten regional tensions. China deplores and opposes this and has lodged serious protests with the U.S. and Japan. The Taiwan question is purely China's internal affair and is at the core of China's core interests. It brooks no external interference. Both the U.S. and Japanese governments have made serious commitments to China on the Taiwan question. In particular, Japan bears serious historical responsibilities for its aggression against Taiwan and colonial rule over the island, and should all the more act prudently on the Taiwan question. The biggest threat to cross-strait peace at present is separatist activities of Taiwan independence forces and external connivance and support they receive. If relevant countries truly care about cross-strait peace and stability, what they should do is uphold One China principle and unequivocally oppose Taiwan independence. The Taiwan region's participation in the activities of international organizations should and can only be handled in line with the One China principle. Taiwan has no basis, reason, or right to join international organizations that only sovereign countries join. Diaoyuda and its affiliated islands have always been part of China's territory. China's activities in relevant waters are fully legitimate and lawful. China has all along followed the WTO rules. The so-called China's economic aggression is purely groundless. We call on the U.S. and Japan to abide by the One China principle and honor their commitments. Immediately stop interfering in China's internal affairs. Stop sending any wrong signal to Taiwan independence forces in any form. Earnestly respect China's territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests. Stop manipulating China-related issues and take concrete actions to play a constructive role for the peace and development in the region. Next one, please.
President Trump has said he plans to impose 20%.
特朗普总统表示，将从今天起对钢铁和铝进口征收25%的关税。外交部对此有何评论？ I'd refer you to the competent authorities for the specific question. Let me stress that protectionism leads nowhere, and trade and tariff wars have no winners. Next one, please.达赖喇嘛的哥哥加勒顿珠近日逝世，你对于他的逝世和留下的遗产有何评论？
上世纪70年代末
Since the end of the 1970s, after approved by the central government, Gaotamo Minister Mr. Gaotamo has returned and visited China multiple times and was received by central leaders. The Chinese government has two basic principles when it comes to contact and talks. First, we would only have contact and talks with the personal representative of the 14th Dalai Lama, not the so-called Tibetan government in exile or Central Tibetan administration. The fourth government is purely against the Chinese constitution and the laws, and is not recognized by any country in the world. Secondly, any contact or talks will only be about the personal future of the 14th Dalai Lama himself, or to the utmost extent a handful of people close to him, not the so-called high degree of autonomy for Tibet. As long as the 14th Dalai Lama can truly give up the position of splitting the motherland, stop activities that would separate the country, publicly recognize Xizang as an inalienable part of China, recognize Taiwan as an inalienable part of China, and recognize that the PRC government as the sole legal government representing China, we can have talks about the personal future of the 14th Dalai Lama. We hope the 14th Dalai Lama can grasp the policies of the central government and reflect on and fully redress its political propositions and actions and return to the right path. Next one, please.
NHK. The Chinese government plans to impose tariffs on the U.S. on February 10th. Can you confirm that came into effect at 12 a.m. this morning? And also on the tariff issue, is there any plan for Chinese and U.S. presidents to meet with each other and have talks? On your first question, I'd refer you to the competent authorities for the specific question. Let me stress, trade and tariff wars have no winners and will undermine the interest of the two peoples. What is needed now is not more unilateral tariffs, but dialogue based on equality and mutual respect. We urge the U.S. to correct its wrongdoing and stop politicizing and weaponizing trade and economic issues. On your second question, during the telephone conversation between the two presidents on January 17th, China made its position amply clear to the U.S., and the two sides agreed in principle on mutually beneficial cooperation. What is needed now is not more unilateral tariffs, but dialogue based on equality and mutual respect. Next one, please.
For Reuters, today is the deadline for countries to submit their new climate pledges or nationally determined contributions to the United Nations.
今天是各国向联合国提交碳排放自主决定目标的时间，中方是否决定提交了？
China has always been a practitioner for climate change. The green development is our long-term policy, not an intermediary. China's dual carbon policies is consistent, but the extent, manner should be decided by China, not be influenced by other countries. The Chinese government attaches great importance to climate response and firmly implement relevant policies, implement national determined contributions, and made positive progress. China's carbon dioxide emissions intensity continues to decrease, and the non-fossil fuel concentration continues to go up, and the installed capacity of renewable energy, including wind power, among others, has reached its committed goal. China will continue to decrease carbon emissions and promote green development and ensure green transition. We will abide by the principles and goals of UNFCCC and continue to make progress for global climate response. China is now in line with the stock take of the Paris Agreement and is studying the new round of NDCs. We will, in a responsible spirit, and will be based on our national conditions, report our 2035 NDCs to the United Nations in due course. Next one, please. Any other questions? Then that would be the end of today's presentation.